Before I get started tonight, I want to warn people that this video might be a little blah, because I'm basically just going to talk about a gun that I don't even own yet and see if anybody else wants it. And a simple video like that is going to be hard to work any hooker jokes into, so it's not going to be your usual Yankee Marshall video. The gun I'm talking about is one that I think a lot of people might not be interested in at all, simply because of who makes it. It's made by Remington. And I think we all remember the craptastic shit-o-matic, which was the Remington R51 that recently kind of came out, then kind of uncame out, and I don't know if it's come out again since then or not, but I haven't seen one. But I'm actually kind of excited about their new gun, and their new gun is the RM380. Now, it is a little .380 pistol, and a lot of people are like, why would I buy a .380? Well, guns in this size, the difference between 9mm and .380 isn't very much of a difference. Performance-wise, they're almost identical. The only difference is a little recoil while you're shooting. So if you're going to buy a tiny little gun, sometimes .380 is just as good a choice as 9mm. Now, if you're looking at the RM380 and you're saying, this gun looks really familiar to me, well, it might look really familiar to you because it's basically a Rohrbaugh. It turns out that Remington has bought Rohrbaugh, so now they are basically releasing a redesigned Rohrbaugh. Now, anyone that's familiar with the Rohrbaugh knows it's a very expensive gun. If you've seen any of the videos I did on my Rohrbaugh, you know I mentioned that it is a $900 to $1,200 gun. It's not a gun that I recommended to a lot of people simply because it was so pricey for what it was. It was a very small 9mm gun and, like I said, very expensive. But like I said, I'm actually a little bit excited about this Remington gun because they took the Rohrbaugh R9 and they changed it. They changed everything that I didn't like about my Rohrbaugh. I liked my Rohrbaugh, but there were some things I didn't like. Like, I wasn't crazy how the trigger guard swept up in the front. It was narrower in the front than it was at the back. Kind of made you slant downward when you pulled the trigger. I didn't like that. Remington seems to have changed that. Their trigger guard is more normal. It's like a normal shaped trigger guard. I like it a little bit better. It looks like the trigger is going to be more of a straight back pull. The original Rohrbaugh didn't have a slide lock. The new Remington, it does add a slide lock, and I like that. I like having a slide lock even on the small gun. Another problem I had with the Rohrbaugh is it didn't have enough gun at the back to protect the meat of my hand. Didn't have enough of a beaver tail. The new Remington adds a little bit at the back of the gun, should help protect your hands from slide bite. Now, one thing that didn't really bother me about the Rohrbaugh was the mag release, but I can see where it bothered a lot of people. It is the old European style. It's down by the magazine on the bottom of the grip. On the new Remington, it's just a normal everyday style mag release in the normal position you see on most American made guns. I'm sure a lot of people will like that. But the biggest difference between these two guns is going to be the cost. Rohrbaughs, like I said, were very expensive, like a $1,200 gun. This gun is going to retail for a little over $350. Now you might ask yourself, well, how are they going to do that? How are they going to make a decent gun for that much less money? Well, you got to remember, Rohrbaugh was kind of a boutique shop. They produced very few guns, therefore the cost was very high. Remington is basically going to mass produce the gun, and that's going to help keep costs down. So I'm hoping it'll still be a good gun at a lower price. Now, they are changing a few things internally. They're changing the recoil spring assembly. They're doing a little bit of fine-tuning on the trigger and a couple of other things internally. You might want to read up on it to see. But virtually, it's going to be pretty much the same gun. Hopefully, it'll be as good a gun. Remington's even making an Alabama edition. I don't really know what that means unless it's on disability and married to its cousin. But that's something. If you live in Alabama, there's going to be an Alabama edition of this new RM380. Now, before anyone goes accusing me of selling out to Remington with this video, or saying that maybe Remington is blackmailing me because they stole some pictures from my cloud of me with a transvestite hooker and a goat, that's just not the case. No one values my opinion enough to pay me for it. Believe me, I've tried. And plus, no one stole those pictures. I gave them to anybody that would look at them, and I ain't ashamed. I'm just hoping that Remington does this right. They kind of make up for the R51. They actually produce a $1,200 gun for $350, $370. Because if they can, that would be a great buy. So like I said, I just want to make this video real quick to kind of gauge interest on this gun and see if anybody else thinks that this is an interesting thing. I think it's very interesting. I think I will probably buy one. At that price, if it really comes out $350 to $375, I don't think you can really go that wrong on it. It's worth giving it a try. So I, for one, I just might be willing to give Remington a second chance. Will you? You ain't even my real dad.